What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be reviewing my 2020 KLX 250 dual sport motorcycle. Hope you enjoy. So as you can see on the odometer, there's actually 2,353 miles on it. However, I did buy this bike used at about 1,230 miles. So that would put me at a little bit over 1,000 miles for after I had bought it. So far, this bike has been nothing but good to me. The tires that it comes with stock aren't exactly the best, but they do work for everything that it's intended for. So since it's got so many miles on it, the tires are starting to wear down a little bit, so the off-road capabilities have definitely declined by a lot. That's why I haven't been able to bring to you guys a couple of videos like getting to the top of Mount Lam Lam or going all the way down to Tarzan Falls, because these tires are not exactly confidence inspiring as of right now. But I did just order a new set, and I'll be putting the new tires on shortly after these tires wear out. I want to wear them a little bit more to get my money's worth out of them, but they are pretty much, in my opinion, at about the end of their service life. I know that there's a little bit left there, and it's perfectly fine for the road, but a lot of what I like to do is adventure riding off-road, so I definitely need the tires to be in better condition than what these are. So like I said, I just bought this a little while ago, probably about a month or two, and it was at about 1,200 miles on it. And so far, everything has been working perfectly fine. The only problems I have had, besides for the tires wearing down, obviously, because it's got a few thousand miles on it, is upgrades that I've made myself. Like these cheap Chinese handguards, they look all right when you put them on, and they do mostly what they're supposed to do, except for a few times I had a light layover, and for some reason the guard bent completely, no matter how light of a tap it was. And on this side it bent so bad I actually ended up having to cut that off. So I'm going to be looking into replacing those soon, but that's not the bike itself, that's actually just the upgrade. Here on Guam, the speed limit's normally about 35 miles per hour, so you don't particularly have to go very fast, which was part of the reasoning of why I ended up being more comfortable swapping out the front sprocket. So the original one was a 14 tooth, and I dropped it down to a 13 tooth. So it ended up dropping the top speed of the motorcycle, but the torque that I get on the trails that I ride is a lot better. So the 13 tooth is definitely something that I would recommend that you get, as long as most of your riding is going to be off-road. One more thing that I have done to the bike is that I took off the kickstand sensor that makes the bike shut off if it's running while it's in gear and you put the kickstand down. So for me, that's just an inconvenience, so I ended up taking it off. The wire comes up here and into the frame of the bike, so what you do is you disconnect it, and you have to make sure that the plug that you leave open in here has the circuit connected on both ends, and then I taped it up so that it doesn't have any mud or water get into there. So that's all good. Of course, go ahead and keep the parts for whenever I resell the bike. That way I can return it back to stock and the parts will be like new, because obviously I haven't been using them. For me, I think that this bike looks absolutely awesome. I love the design, I love the layout of the bike. It feels like a real dirt bike when you're riding it. It's not that much different. It's a little bit more geared towards comfort and the street. Like the suspension is a little bit too soft for jumping, but for the most part it does pretty fine on regular trail riding and pretty much anything that you want to do other than jumping. So I actually did end up jumping this thing one time, and that one time it was probably only like 3 foot high, and it completely pretty much bottomed the suspension out, and it was not a safe landing whatsoever. So definitely say 1 out of 5 for jumping on this thing. Definitely not made for it. So one of the biggest reasons that I wanted this bike was so that I could go off-road, but I also needed a reliable daily ride for my work. And so this ended up working very well. It's been a very reliable bike so far. I've never had it not start. I haven't had any sounds coming from the engine or any leaks or anything like that so far. And it's very good for commuting to and from work, but then it's also got, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much full capability of going off-road. It's very comfortable going on the trails, just as long as you're not trying to jump it real high. And even with the jumping, you could upgrade the suspension. I just personally don't have the need to do all that, because once I leave here, I'm probably going to be getting a WR450F. So I know a lot of people are saying that these bikes are underpowered. And if you're living in a place where you've got to go fast, or you need a higher top speed, like if you're getting on the highway speed is 65 miles per hour, people are going 70, 80, then this might not be the bike for you. Hello, Ellie. So one thing I really did like when I got the bike, and I did not know that it came with the bike, was this tail bag. It's actually got just enough room in there for everything that I need to carry with me. So what I normally carry with me is going to be a reflective belt for while I'm riding at night or stuff like that. Of course, right now we've got the pandemic going on, so I carry a mask in there just in case I forget for some reason. I've got some hand sanitizer. And then of course there's plenty of room for your toolkit that comes with the motorcycle. And I also included a medical kit, which is for me mostly bandages and antibiotic ointment and wipes for disinfecting. So the one problem that I have had with this bike so far, and I don't think that it has anything to do with the bike itself, it might have just been the way I was riding, but the rear tire actually deflated for some reason. And when it deflated, I reinflated it, and it just completely went flat again. And I inspected the tire, there were no punctures or anything, so I suspect that maybe because it does not have a rim lock, that the tire ended up twisting and ripping the valve and puncturing the tire. So other than that, the only thing that I don't like about this motorcycle is particularly the weight. The weight is about 300 pounds wet, which is about 50 pounds heavier than most dirt bikes. Even the 450s are a lot lighter than this since it's street legal. So all in all, I think that this is a great bike, especially for beginners, as long as they're able to handle the weight of the motorcycle. But since the motorcycle does have a pretty low sitting height, it isn't really that big of a problem unless you're trying to go for some more technical riding. And if you're just looking for something to have some fun on, and if you're just looking for something that's not hardcore motocross, but just something to go and putt around on, have fun, and pretty much do anything that you need it to out in the woods, then this might be the bike for you. So this is it, guys, and I will see you on the trail.